Grizzlies fans, what's going on? It's time for another Grizz game day update. The Grizzlies on the second half of back-to-back will take on the Sacramento Kings tonight at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Joining me from Sacramento for the first time to break it down, Morgan Ragan. You ready for today?
I'm excited. I think we all look forward to any matchup against the Grizzlies. I feel like any team in the NBA right now does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like it's going to be tough for any team, but you're always excited because like you want to beat them.
Oh no. And I will just say on the more positive end, there's going to be highlights, right? Like we always have like some crazy highlight dunk or behind the back pass or like what it may be. And it used to be you'd come to Sacramento and it would be like, easy dub. But the Beam team, number 3 team in the West, the Grizzlies, number 2. This is the best offensive rated team versus the best defensive rated team. So tonight is going to be so fun. The Grizzlies have lost their last 2, Morgan. They obviously want to get back into that winning column. Sacramento Kings lost their last 1, but I think more importantly, the Kings lost to the Grizzlies on New Year's Day here in Memphis, 118-108. They probably want to get a little bit of redemption there. What kind of game are we expecting to see tonight?
I hope it's going to be one of those really exciting games. I feel like that game, their last matchup wasn't the most beautiful basketball that was being played on both sides, but obviously Grizzlies ended up pulling out the W. So yes, I want the Kings to pull out the W tonight, but ultimately what I really want to see is the Kings protect the paint. You know, we know how the Grizzlies like to dominate in the paint, and especially with those second chance opportunities with Steven Adams, like it's just going to be one of those games where if you're not playing fundamental basketball, boxing guys out, really taking care of the ball, then it can get ugly for the Kings quick.
Yeah. So in that last matchup, the Grizzlies outscored the Kings 20 points in terms of points in the paint. It was like 64-44. Second chance points, they also dominated. Offensive rebounds, they also dominated. But these are also categories where the Grizzlies dominate in the entire league. Like these are categories they lead the league in. Talk to me about personnel. Whose job is it going to have to be? Who's got to lock in on that defensive end to protect the key, to protect those, like not allow the Grizzlies to get offensive rebounds tonight?
I think sometimes for you guys too, you guys get to depend on, Triple J and the paint and Steven Adams and their presence. Really, our big is Domas Sabonis, who has done a fantastic job defensively and grabbing rebounds to finish a defensive possession. But I really think it's going to be our guys on the outside, putting that perimeter pressure on Ja Morant. We talked about this a little earlier. Jones off the bench had a big game for them. So you guys have one of the best backup point guards in this league. And you just think about, you think about what your guards can do, Bane back and just feeling good. That perimeter pressure has to be there. The resistance has to be there. And so I'm hoping for the Kings, we're just seeing some solid defense on the outside to not even let them penetrate in the paint too much.
Yeah. And that's obviously we're talking about the Kings defense, but the whole show is the Kings offense right now, leading the league in scoring. They've scored 125 points in 5 of their last 7 games. They're also, I saw in January, the top scoring offense in the first quarter, right? So they're leading in field goal attempts, field goal percentage, scoring, all of the above in that first quarter. The Grizzlies have fallen behind in the first quarter in the last 2 games, which they lost in. How important is this first quarter going to be, not only getting the Kings going, but I mean, if you're looking at it from my perspective, like the Grizzlies cannot go down tonight on this top scoring team.
Yeah. And especially if you're the Grizzlies too, it's like, okay, you don't want to drop 3 straight after having that 11-game winning streak. So, but the Kings are coming off of a bad loss against the Sixers, where in that first quarter, they were doing well against the Sixers. And then they had a 21-point lead in that first half and ended up losing it in that first half, or not losing the lead, but it ended up being a 10-point game at the half. And the Kings really just let up there. And so I'm hoping if the Kings are going to have a strong first quarter or a strong first half, that they understand how they need to respond the rest of the game. If you're going to put all of your energy right there, how are you going to save some of that energy for later? They're not on a second night of the back-to-back like the Grizzlies will be tonight. So I think for them, they have the advantage of fresh legs.
Yeah, we mentioned it before we started recording too, that the Grizzlies played the Kings last time on the second half of a back-to-back as well. So this is not an unfamiliar territory. And you're talking about fresh legs. Let's talk about fast break points and pace. Both these teams almost hit 100 field goal attempts last time they played. The Grizzlies, actually both teams, top 10 in pace and fast break points. Um, does the legs matter? Like, will it? Is it because it's maybe away now? Like a back-to-back while you're traveling is a little different than home.
Yeah, I would say, well, it didn't for you guys last time, right? And I think when you look at the Kings and their ability, even in the fast break, to hit some of those transition threes. Those threes weren't landing in some of these games, in these back-to-back games for the Kings this year, because that's where their legs would get tired. So I'm curious for you guys if it's going to have that same kind of effect, or if guys are like, we don't need to score from the outside because we know how we have lob threats on the inside. We know how to penetrate in the paint anyway. And that's why it's really going to be important for the Kings in transition defense on the Grizzlies to stop ball right away. You got to pick up ball at the half court line. You got to not turn the ball over and allow Ja Morant and this crew to just start going the other way like they do. Now, let's say it's the other way around. For the Kings, you got to look for ways to get those deflections to not allow the Grizzlies to penetrate in the paint, but really getting those deflections and scoring on Memphis in transition could be a really key point for tonight.
All right. And scoring. This is my second last thing for you, Morgan. Every single starter and the last time we played the Kings on both teams was in double digits. Ooh, yeah, it was a high scoring game. So all 10 of them were in double digits. And then on the bench, just two guys had double digits. They both had 18 in Tyus Jones and Malik Monk. Let's get rid of the bench for now.
Okay.
Just talk about the starters. Okay, they shot 46% and 40%. So it's not like it was like a crazy high percentage game. Is it just that everything is so fast paced when these two teams play that they're able to, like, that's a lot of guys in double digits.
It is. And I think maybe the tone is set by, both teams. And I think if anything, what the Kings need to make sure they're doing is matching the Grizzlies' physicality, because I think what they do such a great job with their scoring is they stay physical. They go through guys. They know how to receive the contact and finish a shot. And I think what that does is become contagious for other teams to be like, okay, good teams, at least we got to meet them there. And so if we want to see that type of production from all of these starters, again, from both squads, yeah, both teams are just going to have to remain aggressive, especially, I think, like you're saying, when we look at pace and in transition.
All right, give me one matchup you're most excited to watch tonight.
It's always usually Sabonis and whatever guy he's going to go up against.
Ooh, I really thought you were going to go with Fox. Okay, wait, I'm still listening.
No. And for me, it's because this is something we've seen over the season, the matchup between Sabonis and whatever big it is. Like last game, it was supposed to be Joel Embiid, who ended up not playing, right? So not having to see that matchup, it was kind of like, whew, I'm glad not to see it right now. But against Steven Adams, who I'm not excited to see, and I love watching him play, but as a Kings fan, I would be most excited to see how Sabonis stays in this game, boxes him out, stays aggressive with him, but also plays defense well without fouling, because that's also been something over the years that Sabonis has done. But this year he's done a much better job of just playing with his chest and really not swiping down with his hands. So that I'm excited for. And why are you excited for something with De'Aaron Fox?
Well, maybe a little De'Aaron Fox, Ja Morant action. I don't think that'll be like an actual matchup. I think it'll probably be a Dylan Brooks, De'Aaron Fox matchup, but just like the star power of those 2 point guards going head to head excites me.
In the speed alone of those two. Yeah. It's like, I feel like that's like the one that's like, yeah, no matter what, that's an automatic one. So excited to watch them really push the pace in this game.
Morgan, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you. And I'm always excited for this. Well, this year, this Kings team, the Beam team. Hopefully there's no Beam tonight, though.
Thanks, KJ.
Grizzlies, again, get some coffee. This one is a 9:30 p.m. tip, 7:30 if you're watching over in Sacramento. And you can watch this one on Bally Sports Southeast and the Bally Sports Plus app.